Mm.
Welcome.
Facebook has been giving us fits lately. Killed out last week a few times.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did. But all right, so we're live on both now.
Fantastic. Welcome, everybody, to Political Head Trauma, where
If Head Drum had a podcast, it would sound like this.
humana.
So tonight we have a guest coming on, Tyson Poulson. He's running for Tooele County School Board District 7 seat. Is that right? So he's going to kind of come on and chat with us about that. Of course, the Epstein files dropped, and that's all.
Ooh.
That's sucking the oxygen out of the air. So, of course, we're going to have to talk about it. Holly wants to talk a little more about ICE, so she might come up with the fresh hooks that maybe the ultimate answer to everything.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
And, there's other news going on.
I also want to talk about Prop 4 and the reversal of Prop 4 and that
yeah.
initiative that we're doing, and let you know where you can sign if you still are interested in signing. And can I just add, if you're not interested in signing, discard this message. Just move on. That's it. We don't need people to come over and harass us when we're gathering signatures.
Are you getting a lot of that? Well, okay, we'll kick off with the little intro stuff, and then I want Holly to tell us about this Prop 4 stuff.
Fantastic.
Live from Utah's Wasatch Front, the pulse of the Mountain West, where the issues that shape your life meet the truth that sets you free. Across Utah, across the Republic, and around the world, welcome. This is KMMU.
Thank you, KMMU. So Holly's been out gathering signatures, and
not just me. We have a lot of people.
A lot of people, but who's been getting after you?
So I have to say this, and I have to preface with Tooele County has got the greatest people. And even our left-leaning folks and voters, they're still reasonable. And I'm thankful for that. In Salt Lake City, actually, I think it was South Jordan, but Salt Lake County, they had done an event at a restaurant where a private event, inviting people to come and sign. The restaurant just gave them they reserved the space, and the restaurant had nothing to do with it. And people started calling in bomb threats. And then they started
West Valley?
In South Jordan.
On South Jordan.
Or Sandy. It was somewhere in the county, but
okay.
They not only did that, but they started writing bad reviews of the restaurant, like in mass. So that, plus a lot of the people gathering signatures have stopped because they've been assaulted, either by spit on, thrown hot coffee at, kicked, slapped.
What?
Yeah, across the state, mostly in Salt Lake County. Now, I just have to say this. We should be able to have reasonable conversations. And
so they're afraid. So obviously this is probably Democrats who are anticipating the opportunity to have a Democratic congressperson, because this redraws the maps to where only they apply. But the Democrats are getting out of hand. The left is getting out of hand with its antics. I'm telling you, you Democrats are going to make me Republican. You guys, I am not going to be Republican because of anything the Republicans do or anything they say. It's going to be because I'm so disgusted with how you guys act that I'll be driven over to them.
They're playing a very dangerous game, especially in a state like ours.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have to be protecting myself in more than one way when I am gathering a signature. And most of the time, I'm in a location and inviting people to meet me at said location. Wednesday night was a perfect example. We did Nicolene's town hall. She was kind enough to let me be a fly on the wall and gather signatures. The state party has been supporting us as far as, getting the word out, and we're so grateful. And so many people came just to sign the petition. And a couple came to argue with me about the petition, which I'm not ready to have the argument. If you don't want to sign it, no one is forcing you. Please stay for the town hall and listen to your representative and share with your representative what issues are important to you, especially a session has just started. So that was the evening. But I had a couple of people come in a huff that it was unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Sign or don't.
What was their argument?
That, well, it feels like it's a misinformed argument. One, they're saying that we want to not have an independent committee. That was not just, you don't want an independent committee. You are okay with gerrymandering. I didn't say that, no. But the independent committee was meant to give maps suggestions, just like the public was, to the legislature, whose constitutional job is to draw the maps, period. It's their job. The legislature did not choose the independent committee's map. They chose a different map.
A map drawn by like a lobbyist type group.
No,
right?
no, the maps were drawn by citizens like you and me. A lot of people
But the
submitted
one they
maps.
chose, where'd they get that one from?
I'm not sure. But it pretty much kept it. What it did is it still met the criteria to keep rural Utah together and Salt Lake County mixed with the surrounding areas. The mapping was reflective of the census. And in Utah, registered voters in Utah for Democrats are 13%, which makes sense that you would have a 13% at least. Now, our independents are very strong in Utah. We have a lot of independents. And of course, Republicans. Now, there are plenty of options to run for office. If you're Democrat, an independent, a Republican, you can run for Congress. The map districts that we have now, right now, we have a congresswoman who represents rural Utah. She's literally a dirt doctor, right?
The dirt doctor.
Or
a loam lawyer.
She's more than qualified. But the issues that we have in our county and Washington County and, all the way up and down the state, they're issues for a rural community. We're facing growth and the aspects of infrastructure and water and energy and all of those things that Salt Lake County's already established.
Well, what does Prop 4 exactly say? Because I read a story today that students at the University of Utah, a cesspool of conservative thinking individuals, says that they're being lied to by people seeking to gather signatures. And I'm like, are they though? So what does Prop 4 exactly say? Let's just have that out.
Prop 4, when it was voted on, it was a 50% to 49%. So it wasn't this huge win at the ballot box, but it was an effort to create an independent commission that has a seat at the table with our legislators creating the districting maps.
Okay. So
not a guarantee that the independent commission would get to submit and the map would be chosen from them, but that commission is made up of several different people of all different
parties. And the
parties.
signatures you're gathering, what does that say?
It repeals Prop 4, which is necessary because right now, what we have found is a judge has taken an outside party, and I don't mean party as a political party, but outside groups due to a lawsuit, and that group provided a map to the judge, and the judge accepted their map, and then told our legislature they too will accept that map.
Did the judge give reason? Was it just so?
It's absolutely
So
unconstitutional.
the people who are angry about it are angry, saying that they feel the judge is fighting for them. Let's pretend I'm a Democrat, okay? So let me go outside and run in circles for a minute until I'm real dizzy and kind of dumb. Then I'll come back in and sit down. But so they're thinking in their head that this is a way around gerrymandering, because let's face it, across the country, states are gerrymandering hard. And both parties are guilty of it, but they feel like
they want to gerrymander themselves.
they want the judge to have a judicial interference in it. So I understand them not wanting to sign it. My consternation with the Democrats is that they express violence for other people having an opposite political view.
Yeah, that's in everything, right? That's what we're seeing all over the country.
I'm telling you,
they're going to mess with the wrong person.
Well, it's not just that,
or
but
people.
They're going to drive us to where there's no chance at reconciliation.
Yeah, I hope not. But you can see, when they're protesting in churches, and well, I'm glad that something happened in that regard. We're seeing a little something.
I am mixed on it. And
you shouldn't be going into religious facilities and taking over their meetings.
No, that I am. But William, good to see you.
Hi, William.
Hope everything's going well for you. So I am glad that they arrested all those people. And half of me is glad they arrested Don Lemon. But the other half of me is like,
martyr.
His show has grown.
Right.
It's like doubled.
Which is what he wants. I mean, he wants that bad.
But
he wants so badly to be
same
relevant.
with what's that late night show host guy?
Kimmel?
Kimmel. Yeah, when Trump came out against him, his show grew.
But it fell back down. People tuned in for his comeback, but his numbers are still terrible.
It hasn't got back down to where it was. And now, because of that, Kimmel's guaranteed to have a show for a little bit longer. And had they said nothing, both of those would have just fizzled out. Both of them are okay. Kimmel's show has some funny attractiveness to it that's sprinkled in with his crying and ranting and whatever. But Don Lemon's the dumbest human being that they've ever pointed a video camera at.
It's true. However, we have a huge population here in this country that is done with these threats of, oh, this is wrong, but we're not going to prosecute.
No, I agree.
So we needed to start seeing some perp walks, and we need to see more of them.
I agree. Now, here's the deal. Don Lemon is not going to serve any time. He's going to walk. If we're lucky, he'll get a slap on the wrist or a fine. But his show's only going to grow. They drew attention to it. He was dying.
Yeah, well, we still needed this precedent so that people stop going into churches. You notice they don't go to the Muslim church.
It would have been great had they just served him a trespass order and a trespass fine. You were asked to leave. You didn't leave.
Oh, I think it's bigger than that.
You get a summons to court for trespass.
Their intent was to create
I know what
fear,
their intent was.
And they did it. And he may be a martyr, okay? And that's what's going to happen. They're going to give him all of that.
Not you, but they were given attention. That's the bad thing. That's just my thoughts. I may be wrong, but
back to Prop 4, one thing that someone mentioned is that you guys didn't take the independent map and the judge made sure that the right map was chosen. That is incorrect. The independent committee did not submit this map. No one submitted this map except for I don't even know the Mormon women.
Yeah, something like that.
This is groups that are out of California people out of California. And how great is it that a judge appointed gets to decide for all of us what our legislatures are going to do? We can fire our legislatures, folks. You cannot fire this appointed judge at the ballot box.
How close are we with the signatures?
We are not stopping. We've got foot on the gas. I think we've got 11 and a half days left. And I think we need about 30,000.
Okay.
But we are all out. So for anyone who would like to sign it, again, if you don't want to sign it, please don't bother people that are sitting in the cold and gathering signatures. Okay? Walk away. Don't
I'm not
even
going to
show
say,
up.
please don't in front of me, because I might make a mud hole out of you.
Well,
Simple. Matter of fact, if I see anyone out there just poking violence at people, I might tend to get angry about it. And there's more people like me. And I hope this starts coming to pass. I'm done. I'm done
what are you doing tomorrow at 11 a.m.?
working.
How about tomorrow evening?
I'm going to a kid's birthday party.
So tomorrow at 11 a.m., we have an opportunity for you to go to Tooele County building, and the outside of the building, there will be someone outside collecting signatures. So you can go from 11 to 1:30.
If it happens in Tooele, you call the sheriff immediately. You get that person arrested.
And
if they do anything that can get them pinned with assault, let's get them pinned with assault.
Tomorrow evening at 6:30, I will be in Stansbury Park by the clubhouse outside, also gathering signatures. So if you would like to sign the petition tomorrow, 11 to 1:30 at Tooele County building outside, and tomorrow evening in Stansbury Park, clubhouse, parking lot, or out front, you'll see me at 6:30, and I'll be there till 8.
So did you see the kids keep getting let out to protest?
I've seen that.
I would say, speaking of which, Tyson's coming on here. He's in the waiting room. I say that if the schools continue to do that, we need to withhold their benefits of getting our taxes. I pay taxes so the kids go to school and learn arithmetic and reading, and
they're safe.
I don't want the schools to pass on a political message pro or against the parents. I want the schools to educate them. If they're going to go out and protest, that needs to be on the parents' time, not on the taxpayers' time.
Do you know that a voter reached out to me and said that last week at the Capitol, they saw a bus pull up and a bunch of third graders got out and were handed signs as they got out of the bus?
A whole bunch.
What does a third grader know about politics, people?
No, it's
unsafe.
It's not even that yes, it is unsafe. It's asinine, but in no shape or form should my tax money be stripped for anybody's political ends. I don't want my tax money to be taken away for Republicans to protest or for kids to show up at the Capitol and do any of that. I want my tax money to be stolen from me and then used to teach the kids that are going to have to pay my Social Security. So we're heading to, I don't know.
Well, and I've instructed my own kid, if you think you're walking out of school, think again.
Yeah.
I will pick you up in front of every one of your friends, and it will not be pretty. And the school, if they're permitting it, then it's time to pull your kid out of school.
Tooele had a school march today. Tooele did. And I've got questions and I want answers. I don't know if the kids were naturally released from school or if it was, if they got out of school on time or if it was they were released from school to do this. But no, everyone knows I hate the schools anyway. I think they're the biggest waste of money we have in the United States right now.
And then we're funding our own demise.
You chalk this on top, and what I don't know how I don't know how they can justify this, but we
Let's
have
bring him
Tyson
in.
here. Let's pull him in. And all right, Tyson, you ready? We're pulling you in right now.
Hi, Tyson.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Perfect. I don't know if you can see me. I can't see you guys on here.
I can see you.
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
you should be able to see us actually in your link.
So you don't have to fight with it too much. There's not a lot to see. It's a pretty lady and an ugly dude, so you'll get by. So you're our first customer for this election, and you're running
Okay.
for
Second.
the second. Yes. Sorry.
Hi.
I apologize. And you're running for Tooele County School Board District 7.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Where does that district cover?
Yeah, tell us about yourself and the seat.
Okay. So the seat, it covers the southern portion of Grantsville and then all the rural areas of Tooele County, like Stockton, Rush Valley.
South Rim.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So what's your motivation to run? What's drawing you to
tell us.
this?
Okay. So, I mean, that that could take hours to explain, so I'll try to give as brief of a description as possible. So the school system, when I was a kid, failed me. I'll briefly go into that. So when I was 15 years old, I witnessed a very tragic...
Hold on one second. Are you hearing that?
Yeah, I am.
That there's like a chalky echo. Let me see.
Yep. Do you have a mic?
No, I do not. I just going off my computer.
Okay. Well, we'll carry on with it.
Okay. So when I was 15, I watched a very tragic death happen in my family. And then after that point, I had a lot of systems that failed me. My parents failed me by sending me to school right after the funeral. So I went to school and then I failed almost every class that year. And no teachers intervened, no school counselors intervened, no principal or vice principal intervened. And somehow I managed to graduate high school. But it was rough. It was really hard. And then fast forward to recent time, my oldest kid has autism, and we can't put him in the public school system because there's not enough resources for the IEPs. And then we have other reasons, like our school district pays more per pupil than Iron and Cache County. And if you look at the audit that we just had last year, those are two of the districts they compare us to, Iron and Cache County school districts. And they pay less per pupil, but have higher scorings on almost everything. Graduation,
Teacher
ACT
morale.
scores, teacher morale, everything. And teacher morale is huge. And our superintendent in that last board meeting thought the way to boost morale is giving teachers you've been with us so many years, congratulations, here's a year of service pin. That's his idea of building teacher morale, which is not going to build teacher morale at all.
Do you have any connection to the school board yourself, as far as, have you worked in education? Have you just, you're a concerned dad, of course, and a failed student by the system, but have you ever been in education, or do you have other kids that are through the public school system?
No, so I have two kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and we decided to homeschool both of them. A lot to doing with my oldest having autism. But then, so as far as experience in the school system, no, I don't. But I work for UPS, and UPS is a unionized company through the Teamsters. And I'm a shop steward, so politically speaking, I have some experience there where I've sat on some committees. I represent drivers every day, and I get that unions are very politicized, and I try to stay clear of those politics because I don't always agree with the politics of the union, but it gives me experience.
It helps to understand it. Hey, Tyson, I just want to say, I don't believe that experience in education is necessary. I think what you need to have this is you have to have eyes open to see, like all the people who got to see the school board vote against them at the meeting in this past summer. And then you also have to be a taxpayer, I think, and really understand that, what kind of expenses education is costing. I think that any parent who has the bravery to stand up and run, it's common sense that is lacking right now. Right? Common sense. And it's, unfortunately, we don't know how people feel, if they're conservatives, if they're liberals. We don't know that as things are right now. But I think it'd be great if school boards were partisan races, just so I understand what the politics are of the people making such huge decisions that affect our kids. They affect our property taxes. I mean, I'm glad that you are throwing your hat in. I really am. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, go on.
Well, I think you nailed one of the biggest points, right? Our current school board didn't listen to the community, which is who they work for. They work for the taxpayer in the community. And so many people in our community went to that meeting and raised their concerns about raising taxes. We can't continually raise taxes and do poor in our audits. If you're going to raise my taxes, at least show something for it. Show that we have better scoring, better teacher morale. But if we're not getting any of that, and you have other districts that pay less per pupil and have better scores, then that makes it even worse that they raised our taxes. For what? We haven't improved any.
Well, and thank goodness the Utah State Tax Commission did stop their ability to raise taxes, but we know that this year they're going to come out and they won't make any mistakes.
And the county's going to come after us too. Government's getting more expensive to manage, and it's not like we're getting paid more to deal with it.
There's that $50 million.
I wonder why we clock so much higher than Cache and Iron counties. Is it the geographical footprint that we hold, or is it? Because I could see that costing a little bit more, where maintenance is generally shared between all of the buildings, or is it administrative cost? I would like to see a look into that, an audit. Where is all this money going? And I want to go hard. I want all of the administrative people and the executive people to justify their position, justify their job. Explain to me why the taxpayers pay you this much money. Break it down for me.
Right.
I don't know. We've drifted so far away from any kind of market responsibility with our school system.
Right. And I think that's another big thing that the county wants is transparency, right?
Exactly. Right.
So you're hitting the nail right on the head. We want to know exactly where our tax dollars are going, especially when it's the school board that raised them. Is that money being put to good use? Or are we just focusing so much on curriculum and not what the actual students need? There's a science teacher that teaches in our district, and I won't name any names because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but she's told me that a lot of the curriculum they try to force on them is pointless, and there's free programs online and so many different abilities. She doesn't even know the last time that she's used a textbook.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like our education system is becoming more and more just a black hole. It's like a boat. You guys know what a boat is, right?
Yeah.
It's a hole in the water you pour money into.
That is true. Best day of your life is the day you buy the boat and the day you sell the
The day
boat.
you sell the boat, the second and first best days of your life. But yeah, that's what our education system is becoming, because our kids aren't coming out prepared. And then you hear the colleges, they say the kids aren't showing up prepared. They've got to have a 8th grade English class in college for the freshmen to get them ready to take the high school level English class, to get them ready to take the college level class. They're into, a year before they're even taking college courses. So where's our school failing us? Is our English classes putting aside too much time to preach politics to the kids, or is it that our English classes are maybe too boring? Maybe in this modern age where everything moves faster and you've got TikTok, maybe we've got to update our education system to capture their mind a little more. I don't know. And I always hear about how we got to kick phones out of school. Phones are there. They've got the kids. I think schools need to figure out how to use them more. They're starting to use the Chromebooks,
Which is the same thing as a phone, if you think about it.
Yes, we need to lean into that.
Phones out, because we don't want their screens, but we're going to hand them a screen,
but that's the future.
Get them into it.
If you hand them a book, the book is not a future. Right now, I work with heavy equipment all the time, right? I build industrial equipment, build them all together, and now with this, the instruction manual comes on a QR code.
Right. And look at all that aura you're putting on.
But the screens are everything with that.
Yeah.
So the whole everything I do, I got a camera roll full of pictures from electrical stuff at work that I take before I tear it apart and put a new piece in so I get it right. I mean, so let's get them prepared for that in school, however you do it, instead of having the phone as just their entertainment piece, let's start educating them that it's a tool for success.
I agree. What I have a problem with is the money. And what people don't understand is they get 75% around there of your property tax. The county gets the rest. So if they want to raise taxes, the problem is they have to show a reason, like you said. And when they're building big collegiate high schools that are all beautiful and great, we love that it's a beautiful school. Yes. But do I want my property tax to go up $8,000 in 5 years?
No,
Who can substantiate that? What kind of homeowner can afford that, especially with home prices the way they are, where people are buying a home that is already stretching them and they can't lock in on a payment year to year. They have to prepare. And then you've got teachers who are miserable and their hands are tied behind their backs to how they can teach and what lessons they can plan. And then at the same time, you've got students who are barely able to read,
right,
graduating and unprepared for the world.
And those are some very key points right there. Like, I had another teacher that told me you should go check out that high school and just see how much they overdid that high school in every aspect. It's nicer than some of our colleges around the state.
$50 million over, which is why they needed that tax hike.
Right. And it's just so baffling. And our community's continuing to grow out here. Beaver County School District and Tooele County School District were the only two last year that had an increase in students. Everywhere else decreased.
Right. And
So-
the school was built for what the populace was at the time they got the contract for the school being built, not for a projection to what the county's growth was reflecting in building permits and growth. So they build the school already too small, if you think about it, or at least it'll be overpopulated in 5 years with the growth we have right now?
Well, yeah, and I mean, if you think of Salt Lake County, there's nowhere out there really to build other than Magna and the western parts of Harriman and West Jordan, right? So everything's flowing out to here or to Utah County, Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs. So we're going to continually get that growth, especially where we're only 30 minutes to an hour in certain parts of Salt Lake County.
Yeah, and people are running away from the air quality over there.
And the bad politics of Salt
Right.
Lake City.
I mean, there's various reasons why people move out here. One of the reasons why we moved out here is it was cheaper when we moved out here a decade ago. And I mean, eventually too, with the tax increases that we've been having, are people going to be taxed out of what they're able to afford out here?
Oh, yeah.
Most
You continually
definitely.
raise those. And then what? You're going to have a bunch of people foreclosing on their homes just because they can't afford the taxes.
Especially senior citizens who are on a fixed income.
It's almost like anywhere you go, government's trying to get you out of their housing, either by taxes or by fire, so that they can take the land. I don't know.
Are you thinking out loud?
I was thinking out loud.
Well, sir. I think that teacher morale is number one. And I say that because
No,
teacher
that's
morale,
number two. Number
teacher
one
morale
is
leads to better
kids being able to do the
Teacher-
education work.
teacher morale
What?
leads to kids being successful in high school and junior high. When you have an excited teacher, a happy teacher, it is contagious with the kids. It gets to the kids in a way that makes them excited to learn and get engaged. It's not like when we were young. You know, I remember the teachers that really meant something to me, that really gave an impact in my life that was unexpected, and yet it threw me into parts of school that I absolutely loved. And there were specific teachers. And my kids had them in junior high and elementary school, but now that my kid's been in high school, I don't know that he's ever said, "Oh, Mom, this teacher is amazing. I love this class." I mean, except for the ones that are skill-based classes like culinary, or I think, stuff that they with sewing that you do with their
Shop, home
hands.
ec,
Yeah, those
auto
classes they enjoy.
mechanics.
he enjoys.
Those are, well, they've drummed those. Obama got rid of those. Got rid of most of your shop classes, your vocational stuff, which is sad because that's what we need more than ever, because AI is going to conquer everything else.
It's going to take out the white collar for sure.
And it's going to hit them hard.
And the blue collar is going to be,
well, what do you do every time you go to the doctor? You come home and
I put my results in the AI and it gives me the results immediately.
has it been wrong yet?
No. In
and
fact,
has
it's
it
been
guided
so
you to
right.
tell your doctor what to do?
Absolutely.
That's what
And
we're
what I
at.
realized through that is I'm getting ripped off, that I have to pay a doctor to read me the results, then schedule something to fix it, rather than bypass that one doctor appointment with a specialized surgeon to say, "Hey, we both know what the results are. Let's schedule the procedure. I don't need this in between and these weeks on weeks." I mean, hypothetically, of course.
Hypothetically. But yeah, I'm with you. And I understand the homeschooling part.
Absolutely.
Where you've already initiated it with one child, it's probably, it's not like the homeschool ends now that another child comes along. You just
Right.
carry it on and mold it to the other child as well. And
Right. And they both learn so differently. And that's a thing that I think misses the mark too, is not all kids learn the same. And so if you're taking 30 students and trying to teach them the same way that you teach every student, it doesn't always work.
No, and it's a proven. This is what bothers me, and I've brought this up a lot, but it's a proven method that doesn't work. No child left behind. Buh. You cannot teach kids the same exactly. So what Excelsior Academy has done under our school, our state school board, he's the principal, and what they do is they test the kids at the beginning of the year and assess what class they belong in, regardless of their age. If you're reading at a 5th grade level and you're 6, you're in a 5th grade reading class. And you go to classes. You start going to different classes by 3rd grade. And then your day is broken up based on your level. So for kids that are behind, they are in a different class. For the kids accelerated, for the kids on target, they test them in the middle of the year, or excuse me, the beginning of the year, and I know the end of the year. And that way they can assess where they are next year, and they can move them around that way. This is why charters, for example, are doing such great things, because they're trying something that is based on the child's ability and the child's knowledge. And you can follow that child all the way through school based on their level and focus on what they're lacking behind or how far ahead they are, and keeping them interested. And then you get into public school after that, and it's disappointing, especially when your kid is bored and just reading. They're on their computers all day long.
Yeah, it's it's pretty wild to me. And I think, where our students are at and teacher morale, like you were saying, they go hand in hand. And part of that is, I think we need to listen to the teachers. There's so many teachers in our district that I've talked with that say we don't feel heard, or we'll go to a school board meeting and speak up and then we get disciplined for it.
Interesting.
yeah, they're disgruntled. They're just waiting on retirement.
Right.
I've got a sister-in-law that's a teacher. I could call her right now. She can tell me how many days until she retires. That's all they do. And they're, them and cops, the last 2 people to get the 20 years. It's attractive to them. And I almost wonder if this large overhead that we have with administration is what's killing it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's,
You're
paying how many people are making 6 figures as directors or superintendents, and you've got the teachers who are working day in and day out with all these rules and lessons plans and all that, and they're making barely enough to survive in this economy. And they're supplying their own classrooms, their own extras they supply out of pocket for our kids. So I would rather money go to our teachers than go to superintendents and directors.
Yeah, let's get rid of some of the administration. Let's pay the teachers more. Let's make being a teacher a competitive job again, a job where the best people want to seek it out. We'll have better outcomes then.
Right. And I think we do have some great teachers in our district, but I don't feel like they're given the reins that they deserve to help these kids be educated, right? We're spending so much money on curriculum that they're forcing down the throats of these teachers, and some of the curriculum is garbage. It doesn't work. And it seems like I don't know if it's the superintendent or the guy right under him that's forcing all this curriculum, but they get up and they do a presentation about how great the curriculum is, but yet the teachers don't like it. And then if they go and speak up and against the curriculum that we're spending millions and millions of dollars on, they get disciplined for it.
It's worse than that. So most of our curriculum is probably delivered. Well, I would say there's probably half delivered on a national level and another half that's delivered on a state level by a lobbyist type group or maybe a contract type group that gets some twit at the state or some moron at the national on board with it, by hook or by crook. And then that gets forced down. It plummets down onto them. I imagine our superintendent has very little control over the curriculum or how that's managed. That's a state or a national. The national sends out edicts, and then the state has to figure out how to meet that. And so then the state tries formulating an edict, and then they push it down onto the different school districts, and the school districts just got to play the game. And
they can interpret it.
It's a twisted, failed system, and it's going to continue to run like that.
Well, our state school board gets the, guidance from legislature,
Mm-hmm.
and then the state school board sets the parameters, and the local school boards get to interpret said parameters and adjust it to the way they want. Is it reflective of the values of our community? Is it reflective of the needs of our community? That's the thing, is we're not all cookie cutter. You can't just say, oh, this education for all. No, we need to build on our strengths, and our strengths here are different than in other parts of the state and the nation. The community, the parents should have a lot more say in the curriculum and all that. And I fully respect parents who have the discipline and wherewithal to decide to homeschool kids.
I wonder what it'd look like if we privatize schools.
I've thought that many a time.
What would it look like? If we privatize the school system, what would it look like? Would we pay that much? Would we voluntarily go to a school that is that has such poor outcomes for the same price we're paying now? Because let's face it, let's just be honest outright. Anymore, school is just kid prison so both parents can go to work. That's all it is. It no longer provides value to the community. Matter of fact, I would argue our school system has become a hindrance on the community. When we've got kids that are...
You're saying public school, right?
Yes, that are getting out of school to go protest whatever latest thing, fourth grader, latest thing their teacher feels all oppressed about. That's become a hindrance on the community. It's just a daycare. That's all it is. That's all it's become. That's why keep throwing money at it. Oh, the outcomes are even worse. The daycare managers aren't changing the diapers as fast, but just keep throwing money at it, because that way both parents can go to work and we can collect taxes from two peoples versus one. And that's all it is.
And you get in between the family. It's a community that owns the child.
But I didn't want to,
not the family.
I didn't want to go into the show as a preaching moment. I wanted Tyson to introduce himself to us. The schools hit me hard. Tyson, I apologize.
No, you're good. There's so many things with the school, right? That it's easy to get on these tangents of all the problems that we have in the school district. And look, I'm right there with you. I want our kids to get a good education. I want them to be able to have better proficiency than what we have in the audit. And that's a big thing that I've been trying to focus on, is that audit and where we landed in that audit, especially with comparable school districts. Iron and Cache County are pretty similar in demographics, right? It's a lot of rural areas. You got your main city, like we have Tooele as our main city out here, but then a good chunk of the county is rural. So you have people you got a lot of blue collar families that live in Tooele County.
Right.
And granted, you have some white collar families too, and you've got to be able to help these kids progress into what they need to in the future, whether that's a blue collar job or a white collar job. But blue collar jobs have been way overlooked for a long time. And if we took out those vocational classes, if that is an Obama era thing, that is a big mistake, because those are the jobs that we're going to need. We're going to need auto mechanics, electricians, plumbers, truck drivers. These are things that AI can't really duplicate. I mean, you're going to have...
Not yet, but it can.
There's no way that the Department of Transportation is going to let a self-driving big rig that weighs 80,000 pounds go down the road.
They're doing it already.
That's going to happen. No, what I tell every young man...
It's happening now.
I work in the industry. I tell every young man, I don't know what to do. Go electrician or plumber. Those are the two jobs. Every building you see, go walk outside. Every structure you see, those two people have touched. And that's job security. Right now, robots cannot run wire. Robots cannot lay pipe. Not yet.
Right.
I'm curious, Tyson, do you know what they're paying per student in cash versus Tooele? Do you know the amount? I don't mean to put you on the spot. The reason I ask is because you said going private, and I was thinking, if the state is paying X amount of dollars for a student, I'm just trying to compare what it would cost to put your kid in private school if they gave you the money and said, here's the amount for your child. Most people would go to a private school, which is like $500 a month out here.
What if they just didn't tax it from you?
Right then, yeah.
And then you
go
could
ahead.
hold on to it. You could start homeschool pods. You could take your kid to work with you. You could, and the proof will be in the pudding. Your kid will.
I like pudding.
Yeah.
Pudding.
Tapioca. Your kid will try to meet marks. Like if your kid wants to become a plumber or an electrician, unless they're veterans, when they go down to the trade tech school, they have to pass an exam saying that they can read at the 8th grade level, saying they can do math at the 8th grade level.
So
the reason if you're a veteran, you don't have to is because supposedly being a veteran, you've already proved that you can.
You mean a veteran in the military? Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
I have those numbers for you. I
Great.
screenshotted it off the audit. So per student, what Tooele County School District is paying, instructional spending per pupil is $7,498.
For the year?
I believe so. Iron District is $6,220 per pupil.
So it's $1,000 more.
And then cash is $7,293 per pupil.
So it's 200 more.
And the only one that is more than us that it compared us to in this audit is Box Elder. And they do better in some areas and just the same or worse in other parts in their audit. But they are $7,722 per pupil.
I would argue then, I would argue a lot of that disparity has to come from geographical footprint, because Box Elder is a big geographical place with very scattered small towns. So geography probably
they're got rural small towns.
Yeah. So like Grouse Creek and
like Vernon, it's like Vernon, but they're all spread out over there, aren't they?
So yeah.
Box Elder.
And so I would argue geographical footprint plays into that. But anyway you cut it,
private school.
it just seems like we're failing.
Private
Well,
school.
and here,
feels like.
in the screenshot, it gives us the percentages for proficiency ratings. So our average K through 3rd grade proficiency rating is 57%. In comparison to Iron County, that's 66% for them, 72 for cash. And this is the one spot that Box Elder really excelled in. They have 75 proficiency rating.
Well, they probably only got 75 kids that age in the whole county. The place, I mean, it is empty. It's an empty county.
But you know what? The price in private school is cheaper than that. So
It
you could
probably
enroll your kid
depends.
for $2,000 to $5,000 a year in a private school.
It probably
it's
depends
cheaper.
on the private school.
I mean,
I'm-
out here in the county, the one I know of,
yeah. Or which one's that?
the Catholic school.
Okay.
It's about $500 a month for a student.
So that is,
It could have gone up in the
it
last
would
couple
be
years.
cheaper to send there, but it just seems like, I don't know, everyone, when this first came about, people were afraid. Well, it was actually happening. You had kids from poorer families were destined to remain poor because they didn't get the education. What they didn't account for is that personal drive is a lot of what delivers on, you got naturally intelligent people and people have naturally, personal drive that will climb out of poverty. You've got rich people that will get all the benefits on earth and then they'll just become a crackhead that lives off their daddy's, presidency. Everyone gets their, we don't look at people as individuals. We're building up looking at people as a class system. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that the answer that we're giving is failing. The only group that has a success from this is the government.
Well, and if you look at the school system as a whole and you dig into the history of it, when it was formulated, I can't remember if it was Rockefeller or Rothschild, whichever one it was, though, they created it in a way to create workers.
They did it. It goes back. So you had the
Here's my history
class.
friend.
So you had the Prussians when they were going up against Napoleon. They looked around the world and they saw the school system that they had going on in Japan. And that's what they modeled after. And they wanted to build soldiers because Germany at the time was a bunch of little states that weren't unified. And so they couldn't build an army that could compete with Napoleon, which had just come out of the French Revolution, which kind of uniformed everyone. Guillotines tend to do that. And so they looked around and they started school, which is why school is a German word. I mean, almost everything with our education system is German words because we modeled after Germany. And then in, 1890 or whenever, a guy named Horace Mann went over to Germany and he looked around, he came back and said, yes, this is a great idea. And then it was pretty much all of the wealthy jumped on board with it. And at the time, the progressives were the Republicans and the progressive Republicans jumped on board with it. But yes, Rockefeller was a big guy involved with it. Lots of senators, lots of congressmen, but Horace Mann is the guy who kind of delivered the footprint to us of a universal school.
I think you can still save school. I think the intention there is good, getting kids, socially together and teaching them. I think homeschooling would be awesome, but it's not possible for a lot of people. And you also got skills that maybe the kid does need outside. And I do believe our teachers are doing their very best. I think they are in a system that isn't helping them. But, like you said, this is a long time. This is a long time. And for me, it feels like insanity because we're doing the exact same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And yet we've been talking about problems. What are some of the solutions that you see coming into the school board?
Well, I think you got to be able to listen to those teachers and what their needs are. If we're not listening to those teachers, morale's going to stay low. It's not, you can't just give them a years of service pin and expect that to be their boost all morale, because that's not going to boost their morale.
What are you thinking would boost
a pizza party? That's what they use at my work, a pizza party.
right? That's
That
most
just makes me
corporations.
happy.
That's what they use, but that's not what builds morale. I think if you give them more, less micromanaging and more like trust in them to actually teach the students what their subject is. If you got a science teacher, let them teach science the way that they know how. If you have a math teacher, stop micromanaging how they teach math. They're going to know how to do their job, right? They went to school to know how to teach math, to know how to teach science, to know how to teach history, right? They should know that these teachers, that's what we hired them to do. We have a 34% proficiency rating for third grade through 10th grade. And that is the lowest out of all three of those comparable districts.
And what subject is that in? That just generalized or?
That's just generalized. So we have 34%, where Iron County is 49, Cache County's 55, and Box Elder's 41. So we pay the second highest per pupil, but we have the lowest proficiency rating in third grade through 10th grade.
Those are crucial years. And I keep saying this, and, especially for young men, we're watching our boys get left behind. We're watching them skate through high school at a third grade reading level and thrown out into the world and told to go to college. And it's like, if you can't read, you already have a huge disadvantage in your life as an adult. And read proficiently. And
everybody's losing in this. The girls are losing because girls naturally want to date up, so they're not finding any men to date up. The guys are losing because they can't find anyone at all to date. We're not pairing up. We're not having kids. We're reaching a demographic collapse. And then I listened to a social psychologist the other day talking particularly about schools and our future. And he says, we're not having kids, but we keep building schools and we keep building the administration around schools. He says, here's what's going to happen. Here in about 15 years, you're going to see schools are going to become more bureaucratic. You're going to have less students in there, but it's going to cost more because they're going to bureaucratize everything around children. And he's laying it out saying, this is what's going to happen. He says, every year, the cost of school is going to go up. They're going to provide less, but they're going to become more bureaucratic, building this protectionist government cell of female government around them, because that's what we're living under, is female coded government, which is what's choking us. And
that we might have to go into.
Yeah, we can go into it.
I mean, that's a really, not the female part or the thing, but that's a really good point. There's already too much bureaucracy anyway. I mean, we just talked about how many directors are here in our county for 16 schools. Is it 8? All making 6 figures? Not to mention the superintendent, which I mean, no disrespect to these administrators, but I know they study hard and they get big degrees in order to do this job. But if it's not working, if the very job they're doing is not
give them disrespect.
working,
You're
then they
failing.
need to be fired.
Exactly. And I think there's cost-effective ways to build this proficiency. One that we've talked about is building teacher morale, right? Letting them have a voice, letting them go to those school board meetings and saying their piece, right? Or saying what they need, having support from their administrators. That's another thing that those teachers I've talked to have talked about, is even their administrators, the principals, there's no support there. They need
There's
support.
fear of retribution as well.
Well,
Right.
it sounds like there's been actual retribution,
Yeah, it sounds like it.
just
And-
like any government agency.
And I think another way you can fix it is there are some smart kids out there. We have smart kids, so maybe creating an after-school program for those that are struggling in math, or those that are struggling in science or history or English, and building that proficiency up that way, because then it's peers teaching peers, and it's not putting an extra burden on the teachers, other than maybe a teacher has to sponsor it and hang out in the classroom with them. But I remember there being after school programs, and I'm sure there still are, But if you create these types of groups where it's kids helping kids, I feel like it takes off some of that pressure, and you're going to build your proficiency ratings that way. There's ways to fix this that don't cost the taxpayers any money. There's ways to reduce these costs. These other counties have done it. Iron County is paying way less, and their proficiency rating is 15% higher than what we're at.
Well, I think it would be great for Matt Hymas, who is doing the follow the child instead of the child following the school in their learning. Follow the child and stick to the child's learning abilities like they're doing at Excelsior. I don't know any of the others. I don't know how the other charters do it, but it's a proven method, at least for that proficiency, where they're getting kids who are prepared. And you've got family that's gone there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And they excel, right, in school. When my kids
Until
started
they got cell
public school,
phones.
when my kids started public school, it was just like, hey, you come from this school, you're going to be in all these classes, all these like top classes. You're going to do this and this and this. And immediately my kid's like, yeah, no, this is crazy. This whole system is crazy. It was just so, it just wasn't as connected for my kid going in and having that interaction with the teacher and fun classes and really hands-on fun. And it was just became like a job, but not a fun job, more like a prison, like you said.
It's just kid prison.
I mean, that's literally words he has said.
Well, that's all it is.
But you see those memes all the time, right? Where it compares a school and a prison, and you got the same bus, the same lunchroom. You're sitting in for
the same food. No, that's all it is. It's just kid prison. It just, what it does is it frees it up so that the mother or the stay-at-home spouse can then go get a job and they get 2 routes of taxes from you. That's all it is anymore. And parents scream about, you can't leave my kid out of school. You can't have a snow day. I've got to go to work, because they've been committed into other places instead of the home. And it's all it is. It's just a very expensive, very brutal daycare where most kids, the first piece of violence they experience in their life is at school.
Do you think the education's better in prison? Because I mean, a lot of them get like degrees and stuff.
Here's why I would say yes.
Oh.
Because everyone getting educated in prison is there voluntarily.
Right.
Is in the education part voluntarily, not the prison part, but everyone seeking an education in prison is seeking an education. Where at school, they're kicked out of the house by the parents and made sure they get there on time so they can go in there and be taught by people who are probably disgruntled. There's a lot of other statistics around it that we don't need to go into today, but if you dig into it, you're just like, there is no path laid out ahead of us to salvage this. If you dig into it, there are paths that could salvage it, but there's no path laid out that's available to anywhere to salvage this, except for the wealthy people who pay for a completely private school and select that private school.
Well,
Well,
Tyson, what are your thoughts? So we're going to wrap up and we're going to give the show to you.
You're good. I think another thing that needs to be looked at with this proficiency from my own like history and what I've lived through. So I watched that tragedy happen, right? And then, like I said, I got forced back into school the day after the funeral. So I didn't have any time to process it. I had papers that I had turned in with nothing but my name and class period on it. And that was it. And no teacher said anything. Nobody intervened on any of that, saying, hey, are you okay? I think some of these kids, we don't know what goes on in their homes. We don't know if their parents abuse them. There's so many different variables of what could happen outside of that school setting. where maybe that's what they're doing. They're turning in papers that don't have their name on it, or they're just not getting it. Because when you go through a traumatic experience, education is the first thing that goes out the window. It's statistically proven. So education goes out the window. Well, how many of these kids do we have in those situations? And teachers are so inundated with whatever they have from the state or the school board that is bogging them down to even notice these kids or pull them aside for 2 minutes and say, hey, why did you turn in this paper that only has your name on it? That seems really weird. Like, that's not normal behavior. Most students would, I don't know, write down the wrong answer or something, or guess on the answers that didn't do the assignment, right? So I think some of these things have just been overlooked, and it trickles into our proficiency ratings. That shouldn't be the case. We should be able to recognize those things. And yeah, maybe it's not the school's responsibility to intervene in them into therapy or whatever, but there needs to be some type of conversation there with those students. Maybe the teacher and the student, the teacher, the parents and the student, or the teacher and a principal and the student, or something to where that child understands that they have a voice, and that, oh, whatever I'm going through, I can trust this teacher and go to them, and we can work through my assignments. They're here to help me teach science or math or English, and we can go in and get these assignments done, or I can get help with them so I understand them. I think we're missing the mark there. Why? That shouldn't even be a thing, right? Kids shouldn't be turning in papers with just their name on it, a blank piece of paper. That's a failed system.
You know, I would really like to add something to that, if it's okay. Something you just mentioned that we haven't really talked about here is parents' involvement. Schools make it or break it based on the parents' involvement. And our family went through a tragedy as well. And the first thing I did is I went in and I talked to my kids' teachers and let them know, hey, we just went through this. If you see anything with my kid. And they were so great about reaching out to me. And it was a village from the principal on down. Now, I think every parent right now would do leaps and bounds in their child's education by just knowing their teachers' names, what they're learning. And that, I think parents need to get on top of things, because a lot of parents, like he said, they drop their kid off. They expect the teacher to educate them and watch them and take care of them and then pick them up. And
the prison guard.
That's where they stop. They're not reading at home with them every night.
Well,
they're not doing anything engaging in their classroom or being a part of it, even if it's just reading with your kid for 5 minutes a night and making sure you know where that kid is, and it, showing them, sounding words out with them from the second they're learning to read every single night. That is something that our school did. It was a requirement. Parents had to sign off every single night. Do I look back and think, oh man, that was so taxing? Absolutely not. My children are fantastic readers, and I got to see it in real time. And if parents treated their child's education as much as they complain about education, to be fair, and they were as engaged, I think we'd see huge differences in teacher morale, in spending, because when you've got a lot of eyes on what's going on in the school, and I think you're right that the school needs to be reaching out to parents. You can see it on paper, how badly they're trying to in the public school. They're trying to make sure I know if my kid is failing. I know if my kid is tardy or absent. They're trying to keep me informed, but it isn't like the teacher sends me an email and says, hey, is something going on with your kid? Because he's missed 3 assignments. It's not like that. Whereas my experience before that in a charter, I had communication directly from teachers. I knew if my kid was failing way before grades came out. And it was a plan we made together to get him on track. And there are so many parents that just don't engage, and that hurts and cripples our teachers and our education system.
Right. And I think that's another way that you build teacher morale is you get those parents, which you can't force parents to, right? But they should have a vested interest in the education of their kids.
Absolutely.
Well, the parents who do, their kids will be educated.
It's true.
It's just a fact. The parents, no prison guard can teach your kid if the parents aren't involved. Now, okay, I shouldn't put it like that.
No.
If the kid doesn't want to learn and the parents don't want them
Don't
to
care.
learn, the kid's not going to learn. If the parent wants them to learn, the kid's going to learn halfway. And if the kid wants to learn, the kid's going to learn. How do you get them excited in learning? I didn't learn about some of the things I'm interested in, physics and stuff like that until
History.
I was well into my 30s.
Right.
But that's when I got excited about it. I got interested in it. I wasn't interested in it when I was in physics class. I just sat there and did what they told me to do so I could leave prison that night.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that because in high school, I hated reading, hated it. After, in my 20s, I loved it. I started picking up reading.
Well, also in high school, remember the list of books they give you to read?
Yeah. And
Jesus Christ.
Excuse me.
They could have, here, read whatever female happy book there
Let's
is.
Catcher in the Rye.
Enjoy this.
Well, and
The
I mean, some
Outsider.
of those books are great and some of them are not, right? But if you don't have an interest in them, then it's going to be hard. Now, it's different if you tell a kid, hey, pick a book, whatever your interest is. Like if they have an interest in archery or something, right? Read a book about archery and then do a book report on it.
I mean, that's something they did do is book reports. I did those all the way to graduation.
Yeah, I faked those all the way to graduation. too.
They were easy to
Yeah.
fake.
I
weren't
didn't
they?
read my first book
Cliff
until I
notes.
was in the Army.
Really.
My
Yeah,
first book. Every other time, I faked it.
I had my head in a book my entire life. I couldn't get
I
enough.
faked it. I faked it on all of the crap they fed to me. Oh, read the
Nowadays, kids can't.
National Library's top 10. Oh.
Nowadays, kids are on a screen. They don't even need to pick up an actual book.
And
And
that's-
their interests are different. And I think the aspect of reading is so important.
And that's incorporate the screen. But we do have to let you go.
Okay.
Tyson, thanks for coming on. Do you have any website or anything else if people want to get in touch, follow up more with you? Do you have anywhere they can go to find you?
Did you put his
Um,
website in the show notes?
I couldn't find his website.
I sent it to you.
Yeah, so I don't have a website. I have a
The
Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
Send that link to Holly.
Right. I sent it.
All right.
I sent
I'll
it.
put
We'll
it in the
get it
show notes,
posted.
but go ahead and tell us what the Facebook page is.
Yeah, it's Tyson Poulson for District 7. For
All
Tooele
right.
School District 7. And then my email is Tyson, Tyson, for District 7, FOR, and then District, and then 7, the number 7, at gmail.com.
And that's pretty easy address to remember.
Yeah.
Tyson Poulson for Tooele School Board, District 7,
Yep.
and Tyson FOR, District 7 at gmail.com.
Yep.
Fantastic. And you're running for District 7, of course. And people can reach out to you via email or Facebook, right?
Correct. And then I do have a Google number set up, and that is on the county website. I can see if I can find that real quick here, because I don't have that one memorized yet. So that number is 435-255-3271.
Okay, 1 second. 435
255
255
3271.
327. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us, friends, and everybody get to know Tyson and him running for school board. And we recommend you get to know everyone running and find out if they share the same values you do. And that's what we're hoping, that we can actually match the values that we have in this county and the people that are going to be representing our voice at the school board. And we are looking for, I know we are looking for conservatives who value family and education, not social culture and all that, but actual arithmetic and reading and history and those things. And we're hoping that the people running are reflecting that. So I appreciate you running, and I think it would be pretty cool
Yeah.
to have someone
It'd be
who
refreshing.
homeschools on that board, because that is the reality of a huge part of this community. We have a big homeschool community in Tooele County.
Well, and I think that increased with COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, once you started seeing what the teachers were doing, a lot of people were like, "Ooh,
When the flag started going up in the classroom for Black Lives Matter and transgender and rainbow flags, and you got to see that firsthand when your kid was sitting in front of a computer during COVID, and you got to see these classrooms, and you're thinking, for the parents who aren't engaged in the classroom already, that slept a lot of people wide awake.
right.
And it's only gotten better and bigger. And I don't know if you are a part of like a homeschool pod like he was referring to, but there are a lot of families here that share homeschooling and subjects with different homes, and they all take turns, and they're making it really fun. Plus,
Yeah, and
your
there's-
kid can enroll in public school for a certain class if they need it, for physics or something, that a college educated class. If you're in high school, you can take college courses from high school, and homeschoolers are welcome.
Yeah, and there's a lot of groups in the community that get together, so those kids get that social aspect too. So it's not
Right.
just you're at home with them and they're not getting any social interaction. There's plenty of combined activities with other homeschoolers. So they
Right.
get out and do all sorts of different activities.
Well, we have to let you go.
Well,
We're
thanks.
a half hour over.
Thanks,
I think.
Tyson."
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the invite to be able to come on here. And
Yeah. Any other info you want to get out later on? And I'm sure later on, I don't know. We'll see how the rest of the candidates go, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see if we can put together some kind of back and forth between you guys, if that's something that people want or you guys want. Right now, it's kind of just a meet and greet, and I got carried away. I apologize for that.
No, you're good. I think it'd be cool to set up some type of debate, because I don't know if there is a debate with the school board.
That'd be a
You
good
guys
one.
aren't partisan, so there's no one really guiding your race, which is why so many school board members are elected and no one knows who they are.
Well, one of the hard parts we have is most of the time when we reach out to school board members, they dodge us real hard like we have the plague. But Tyson, thank you very much. Everyone, this is Tyson Poulson. Tyson Poulson is it Tyson Poulson for Tooele 7? Is that what it is?
For District 7.
For District 7 on Facebook. And the phone number is, what is that?
Is it 435?
Yeah.
435-255-3271. Feel free to ask him questions, check him out, everything else. Thanks again, Tyson.
Have a good
Yeah.
night. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Okay,
All right.
explain that thought to me about the feminine. Did you say feminine or?
We're in a feminine government where everything wants to be controlled. We want to have welfare and all this stuff. That's a feminine coded government. It's all bureaucratic and controlled. It's feminine coded. It's what it is. You want to cradle to grave, wipe your nose.
Okay. I mean,
Democrats are feminine coded. They are feminine. Just look at the Democrat Party, and it's a cheerleading squad.
come on. That's offensive to
It
those
ain't-
of us who
it
are on a
ain't pretty.
cheerleading squad.
Not all cheerleading squads are pretty. But anyway, so Jordan's got a few comments. Well, we'll read. William says schools should educate, not indoctrinate. 100%. Okay, Jordan says, "Hey, Jared and Harley, I'm sorry I had a rough day. I am depressed." January Walker said she would sue me if I don't quit harassing people. I'll treat others kindly next time. So, Jordan, please go into a little more of that. January and I, we were friends. I don't know what happened to her. I kind of think she's gone through something recently, so we haven't talked in months.
Yeah, she's been on the show a few times.
She has. She's gone through something. I don't know what, but anyways, let me know what she thinks you're doing, Jordan. I can't see you being a mean or harassing person from all the times I've chatted with you, but
We love your engagement on
Yeah.
the show.
well, and
appreciate it.
I would like to know. She kind of, I don't know what's going on over there with January. I hope she's doing well. I do.
Right.
But it does seem from my uneducated eye that there is something going on.
Well, we wish her the best.
We wish her the best. I hope everything's good with her. William says, I really like that you talk about and get involved in these local school elections. It's interesting for me because it shows much more decentralized model of education than what we usually see in many Latin American countries where education is mostly centralized at the national level.
Interesting.
It's honestly really insightful to learn from your perspective. Here's the problem. Okay, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The problem with Central America and the problem with anywhere that was colonized by the Iberian Peninsula, the luckiest people were colonized by the English. The unluckiest people were owned by a Dutch king, but we don't need to talk about the Congo today. But in the middle there was anyone who was conquered and colonized by the Iberian Peninsula, and that's Spain, most of half of France, and Portugal. And the reason why, my honest opinion, the reason why is they just come out of the Reconquista, so they were very lord heavy, if you'd say. A lot of guys earned lordships through conquering and stuff.
Is that like a king though?
The kings and what we'd have in senators, parliament, governors.
Gotcha.
But
okay.
everything that they did, so like they would set up stuff over here, but everything was controlled by and answerable to the state. Nothing was free of that here. And the natives could not benefit from any of that. They couldn't start their own thing. They couldn't start. So it was the ultimate, the ultimate means of control. So they laid all the dictates down and then stole all the wealth back. And so the people over here, the Mexicans and the Hondurans and all of them, and revolutions were fought over it. Bolivar fought a revolution over kind of wanting control over here. Well, there's a couple of reasons why he did, and he's the big Latin American George Washington type, if you will. But so they never learned to uplift as a whole and have kind of a free market idea of body politics. So they keep that going over here where the government controls every aspect of your life and it's involved in everything.
Like communism?
Nah, I mean,
do you know what the type of government they had? Monarchy?
Communism's an economic model, really, but mercantilism is the economic model that the Spanish used at the time, but it's more of strong head of state or a strong state type of government, and no really diversified strength throughout the populace. It was everything was centralized.
Did the populace work individually or did they work for the state? Like how
Well,
were the
initially when they were
paid?
when they were under Spain or Portugal, they worked for the state.
Gotcha.
That was across an ocean. They couldn't even like start up their own little businesses.
Right.
We're over here in the Americas. You could start up your own businesses. They just wanted you to pay a tax. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
We're over there. You didn't pay a tax because they took everything you made. William says, honestly, I didn't really follow U.S. national, state, and local politics in depth before. But thanks to your conversations, I feel much more interested in learning how things work there. It's a diversified model. It's spread out.
Thank you, William.
And
we appreciate that.
Even though it's not my country. And William, I hope that we get people like you to come up here. I do. I hope we get people like you to come to the U.S. and shoot your shot. I am by nature an open borders person because I recognize that if you totally close off, you kind of die on the vine because you need that dynamism to enter your country. I just recognize also that you cannot have open borders and a welfare state. One will consume the other. So
Absolutely.
So if we had no welfare state, you could have open borders, complete private property protections, and open borders, and dynamism would explode like it has in the history of this nation. But once the welfare state is established, you have to figure out how to manage those borders. You just have to.
I can't wait to talk about the SAVE Act with you.
Okay, the SAVE Act. Well, we can move on. Let's hit the SAVE Act.
Mike Lee's bill requiring identification, photo ID when you vote.
Okay, perfect.
And you know what's so funny is Democrats, Republicans, Independents overwhelmingly support voter ID. Overwhelmingly. This is a one-trick pony that everybody's on board with. Yeah, I can show you who I am to vote. And the Democrats are going crazy. Mitch McConnell called it, not Mitch McConnell. Who's the other guy, the Democrat speaker?
Schiff?
No, oh my gosh. The minority leader in the Senate.
Oh, Hakeem Jeffries.
Okay, no, the other guy from New York. Sorry.
Oh, hold on. Anyways.
The one AOC is threatening to get out.
All right. So
listen, he said it's Jim Crow 2.0 to ask for an ID to vote. Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, every race, every sex is in agreement that you should have to show ID to vote. So I want the Democrats to go after this, and I want them to have to defend it on the Senate floor as to why this is such a terrible act to pass.
I think it's simple. Throw them a bone. Just state identification will be free.
Either way, they're assuming people of color can't get an ID.
No, they're saying that. They're
saying
not
that.
assuming that.
They're saying that.
That's a cudgel that they attempt to use.
How offensive is that for people of color to hear?
It depends on which person you are.
Have a bank account, or they cash a check, or they're just like everybody else. I think it is so offensive to assume or to say out loud they're incapable. That to me is racism.
The best was Adam Carolla's story about this last election when he tried to go down and vote. He ended up not being able to vote because apparently somehow they lost his registered to vote record. But he tried to hand over his ID, and the guy's like, I can't take that. So he wasn't able to vote. He would have voted Republican, but maybe in certain states that make all sorts of good decisions, Republican voter registration cards get lost. I don't know. It's simple. ID, you've got to prove who you are to vote. That, or we can have voting on one day. That day's a national holiday, and you dye your finger pink.
I love it.
That'd be simple, super simple. You go in and vote, and then as you walk in, before you can vote, you stick your finger in the little pink pot, then you go in and vote.
I remember when they did that. Was it in Iraq?
Yeah, that was
Or
how they did it in
Afghanistan?
Afghanistan.
That was pretty cool. And
And
everyone
women
had
voted
their.
and then got beat for it. But anyhow,
So I thought that was funny. That's Mike Lee's bill, and they're kind of tying it to this
Ugh.
omnibus bill. And
I think we got to quit tying omnibus bills together. We need to have standalone bills, because right now, say there's a Democrat. Let's say, poopy face McButt waffle from Democrat from Colorado or whatever. He goes in there and they tie it to an omnibus bill. He votes no, because what he wants is he wants to hope that maybe a few people make it across the line that's going to vote for his party because of their immigration status. But his local populists don't want him to vote that way. But they've got an omnibus bill, and he'll look through the omnibus bill and find one thing they don't like. And he'll say, that's why I said no. I said no for that one thing. It was none of this. All this stuff's fine.
you know what?
But I said no for this one thing. Every bill should be standalone. Every bill should be by its damn self.
Rand Paul suggested that, but of course the Senate didn't accept it. Do you know what I would love to see on this bill by itself? If Republicans were smart, you guys cannot screw this up. You encourage a filibuster. This one bill, a filibuster where Democrats have to hit the floor and argue this bill for hours and hours and days to filibuster, and then find out, let them put it all out there to their own voters why they want this.
The
so
Republicans have the vote.
Not right now, we don't.
But there's going to be Republicans that vote no. And because it's in an omnibus bill, Republican will point at that.
Well, the SAVE Act, I think they're going to.
And there will be Republicans who want that, who will vote no because of other crap in the omnibus bill. That's why bills need to be standalone.
Oh, I fully agree with that. I want to see. I want to see this pass. Mike Lee has been pushing this forever. This would fundamentally change election integrity in this country.
That, and I want to see that pass, and I want to see the census pass to where it's only registered voters and their offspring, or not registered. U.S. citizens and their offspring counting. That's it. I would like to see an overall census, but I would like the census to be broken down where apportionment only counts for U.S. citizens.
I agree. And that was Trump in 2016.
Trump fought for it, and
he wanted
lost.
it. He lost it. I think the census should count.
He lost it. I think he lost it with a Republican majority too.
He should be able to count legal citizens. And then we also should be getting a census on people who are not legal if they're willing to come out, which many of them wouldn't. But at least it's a start to get to know who's here, but we shouldn't be giving them an elected voice because they are not citizens of this country. And that is what the Constitution requires, to vote.
But that's just my opinions.
Is the SAVE Act tied to?
Oh, okay. William says it's important to protect education from indoctrination so that the future we don't have more Billie Eilish saying nonsense about so-called stolen lands.
Oh,
what a crazy indoctrinated girl is Billie. I don't think Billie has a standalone thought in her head on that. I think Billie just says what she says so that she sells more records and gets the good production deals. I don't think Billie has. I would argue she probably doesn't have much going on in there about
Taylor
it.
Swift does the same thing.
Taylor Swift is doing it for the same reason.
I think it backfired because you know what? We're living in a world where kids with a good idea or a stupid prank or an ability to sing can get their voice out to the masses without having to go to a record company and all that and play the game. Billie Eilish, she is a perfect example of that. This new era of people getting famous, right? It's not like the old days where you had to put in your time and grind and all
I
this other
think-
stuff. You can be famous. The problem is, I'm hoping after watching the Emmys and watching the reaction from the public when they're sitting in that big echo chamber and patting each other on the back for the crap, I think that hopefully people are waking up.
I just wonder how many people watch that. I think the big one that made it from out of nowhere was Post Malone, right?
Jelly roll.
Is he bigger than Post Malone? I don't know. I'm honestly asking.
I thought you were referring to someone who might have won Sunday.
No, the biggest person to climb out of just like starting their own thing and doing their own singing and building themselves.
I mean, I think
Because
there's
let's
a
face
lot.
it, through the 90s and early 2000s, the music industry was somewhere they put models and taught models how to sing.
Well, Justin Bieber was discovered on YouTube,
Okay.
but
see?
he was endorsed by
P. Diddy.
P. Diddy. But
He
what's
was-
his name?
Usher.
Yeah.
He was soft.
Okay.
He's soft,
Stop.
isn't
He was a kid. Just,
he was softer.
do you want to get on the Epstein stuff?
Yeah, so let's talk about Epstein for a second. I don't know. Lots of names come out. Bill Gates is a big loser in this. Everyone, I don't care what political party, what nationality you're from. There is the Epstein stuff dropped names. The big, huge one for me, the one that broke me or didn't break me, but the one that confused me a lot was, what the heck was that name of? There was a British, they call it the House of Lords guy who quit, who resigned because his name popped up in there, and I guess some pictures of him popped up in there. He was okay. I haven't seen the picture, heard it explained, but he was sitting on a computer in his britches, in his underwear, and some teenage girl is standing next to him. They're both looking at a computer. I don't know if that's damning. I guess there was a lot of creepy stuff on there, like videos and stuff like that. But most of it was stuff that he downloaded from the internet. Some of it was stuff that I think they said would have been questionable as to the age of some of the participants in the videos. But I don't know. It's just crazy. I mean, Noam Chomsky and Bill Gates and, yes, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump is mentioned in there, though. There's some questioning on the Donald Trump. Someone explained that it was emails that was sent to the FBI 2016, 2017 timeframe or 17, 18 or whatever. So it was emails of someone hearsaying it, but I don't know.
After he was public enemy number one.
Yeah, and then there's Ehud Barak. Is that his name? The old prime minister of Israel.
He was. Yeah, he was.
But remember Epstein when the charges first started bubbling back in 2008 or 9 or whenever, he ran to Israel and ran and hid there.
Right. Until
they were telling him you're getting a secure deal. And so I don't know. This is it's at the very least, it was a playground for the ultra wealthy, for like the captains of industry. And I'll bet it's been going on on every generation. I mean, all the time. There was that queen that used to kill her servants and bathe in their blood. I mean, rich people get creepy. I guess when you
Have you seen the movie Hostel?
probably not.
This is what it makes me think of. In Hostel, these kids are kidnapped out of a hostel and then they're made to be hunted
See,
by the wealthy.
and
It's too terrifying to think it. The idea is too crazy to
remember
think it
Dangerous
could
Game.
exist.
with Ice-T.
But if this is what it sounds like, only instead of being hunted like large game, they're being assaulted.
Yeah, it's
Did you see the picture with the chickens and what looks like a baby
mm-mm.
passed away? Dude, there are some crazy things. And then the Pizzagate stuff is coming back out.
Yeah, pizza was mentioned a lot in it. And it's funny, the very same like anchors who poo-pooed it are now going, well, pizza's mentioned a lot. Was there something with that?
Yeah. Oh, see, that's the one I was talking about. The picture I saw was tied to this video.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is this the one? 2001, Gabrielle Rico Jimenez reportedly said she was at a private event in Monterrey, Mexico, and was recorded on camera making disturbing statements, including they ate human flesh before being arrested. Authorities attribute her behavior to mental issues. After this incident, she largely disappeared from public view. But a lot of Mexicans are saying she got disappeared
Right, because she did disappear and it wasn't
she's been
normal.
gone, like gone. And she was some model. So
Go on to the rest on why this matters. The department DOJ released.
DOJ released years later, documents released by the DOJ related to Jeffrey Epstein included an unverified allegation in a FBI FD 302 report in which male accuser claimed acts involving cannibalism and the dismemberment of infants. Oh, it's, and then they're talking about in Florida. Was it in Florida? Dick Marcinko. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He started SEAL Team 6. He was supposedly involved in it, and he was, I want to say, in Mexico as a connection to it or something. So it's getting thick. The Epstein list it's getting thick. I mean, you got Bill Gates.
Bill Gates isn't a genius, by the way, William. I think he's just he got lucky on circumstance
I think Bill
and
Gates
timing.
is plenty of smart. I think Bill Gates is just so wealthy. He's been to the end of everything he hoped for. So he wanted to find something more.
I think he's a scumbag. And if his wife knew what was going on at that island years ago, she's a scumbag too.
That's the question. Did she know, or did she find out? The best was when you hear the emails where Bill Gates is asking old Jeffy for some
antibiotics,
for some penicillin for the stuff he caught, so he can what do you call it? Roofie his old lady with penicillin
because he had passed on this sexual disease
well,
to his wife.
He was probably afraid he had. And he's like, well, I'll take it for me, give some to her. He was sharing.
What a scumbag.
He was taking awful good.
Now his wife, Melinda Gates, his ex-wife has said, I hope he testifies and I hope we get to the bottom of this and he's held accountable. But my question is, she got divorced. It's been a couple years.
She got divorced like right after Epstein got picked up and the stuff about Bill Gates started coming out. Now, she was there now Bill Gates started his relationship with Epstein, I think after the first time he was in trouble.
Well, this is the thing. She obviously knew something where the Epstein whole thing is concerned because she said it was one of the causes of her divorce.
But
How
that was
much
when
did
Epstein
she know about Epstein?
That was when Epstein got picked up and got taken up to the prison in New York.
Right.
So that's when she said,
because Bill Gates spent a lot of time
oh,
with him.
Bill, you hang out with this guy a lot and this is what he does. So I don't know. I'm not going to throw shade at her unless, say Bill testifies and says, yeah, Melinda would come with me all the time.
Well, even if she didn't come with him, but she knew.
If there's an email coming across saying, hey, can you give me a dose of the, I gave her a dose of the clap. Can you give me a dose of the unclap?
So if I'm just saying, if she knew that something was going on there and she just kind of said, well, not my circus, not my monkeys, whatever, I have no respect for her at all.
Well, that's true. If she knew about it, then I don't know. I don't know how to, this is the type of thing that this is how dynasties can get toppled if
Absolutely.
if there is any justice. William says, earlier I read that Trump cut off his relationship with Epstein in 2003 after one of his employees complained that Epstein wanted to force her to have sexual relations.
I've seen that as well. I've also
Um,
seen they had a big fallout because him and they were competing over a real estate deal.
There's a whole bunch of stories coming out. I am not going to I want all of this to shake out. I don't want to be one who says Trump is innocent in this until it's
Absolutely.
been gone through. And I feel that way about everyone.
Right.
And that's just because even before 2003, if Trump was involved in stuff, I need this to come to light. Well, I think we need this to come to light. We've entered a new stage of tomfoolery with the wealthy. And it's happened before, and it happens every time there's kind of the boiling up of a new industrial revolution. And we had that during our boil up, and granted, back then it lasted a little longer than this one did, but the internet and computers kind of is the birth of our new one. And so all these people you see, most of them tend to be like, you got Bill Gates, you got Zuckerberg, they're all on the list.
You got Elon Musk on one of the emails, but
yes,
he's saying
Elon Musk and that guy who the big donor bundler for the Democrats were arguing at least. And then Elon says, at least I didn't go, But Elon said he wanted to go, but he said he was going to go with his wife. But maybe his wife's creepy. I don't know. You can't count women out of this.
we have to remember that these people are innocent until proven guilty. And I say that about every single person. I think Bill Gates is a scumbag, and I always have. Well, for a lot of years I have. Back in the day I didn't, but I think that same for the Clintons. Bill Clinton's probably the one featured the most.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, but I still want to hear his testimony, and I want to make sure that if there is evidence that it's proven before I decide to cast aspersions. And we asked for these files to come out. We were adamant. We don't care what side of the aisle they're on. We want accountability for these victims, justice for these victims. And also we want just the whole sheet just taken off. Let's just see what it is. And now it's getting more morbid and frightening than even I expected.
Well, there's some that allude to bodies being buried on his properties.
Well, infants being murdered for adrenochrome.
Yeah. So he's got that island, and he's got property in New Mexico.
New Mexico is the craziest case.
New Mexico, where he had all the women, where he's making the perfect, and a lot of stuff that's coming out. He was kind of a Jewish supremacist. He didn't like the goyim, if you will. He thought they were subhuman.
I've seen some interesting interviews with him after these files where he talks about Bill Clinton causing the economic crash.
Yeah.
In 2008 with his policy of give everybody a home loan and forget about credit.
William Henry Harrison, the only good president we've ever had.
All right.
Every other one has caused problems. Every other president.
So I noticed too yesterday on a video where people in Minnesota were doing road checkpoints.
Yeah.
Masked men had stopped in a public road and doing checkpoints. And these are the left.
Yeah.
Making sure they're not ICE.
Yeah,
These jackasses are wearing masks, going up to regular people's cars and asking them to see their papers.
They went up to a Somali Uber
How
drivers.
is this? Yeah. How is this hypocrisy not called out by other logical people?
There is one truth, and Voltaire said it. He said, "Be careful staring into the void." Because the void stares back.
Oh, that's so deep.
Because you become what you fight. Every time you will become what you fight. We fought the communists during the Cold War. Where are we going?
How spoiled a populace are we that this is what people, number one, pay for? Because this is all funded by billionaires that are trying to upset our country and hate Donald Trump. I get that. And they don't care who dies. They don't care. In fact, if someone dies, they're just mad that someone of color hasn't died yet. The left is funding these protests, and the right is playing defense on this.
I think the right fell right in. Okay, so just quick, and we do have to close because tomorrow is rather dangerous day at work.
Pizza party?
I wish. It's a party where I'm going to be high up in the air with cranes delivering heavy parts to me. So Nick Shirley goes up there to Minnesota, and Trump, if you're out there, please listen. Nick Shirley goes up to Minnesota and he discovers fraud. I 100% believe there's fraud. So what does the Republicans do? They dress their ICE officials up as military individuals and send them out there, which incites the left. Maybe that's what they want, the left's incitement. But I think if that's not what you wanted, the ideal tactic would have been to sick a whole bunch of accountants in khakis and polos and
They're doing
sports
that too.
jackets. Just that. Not two, just that.
Well, they needed to get the criminals out of there.
Nope.
And I'm not talking about the Somali fraudsters. I'm talking about the dangerous criminals that have been convicted and
one
tried.
big thing is Minnesota doesn't have a large number of illegal immigrants in it at all. Yes, it's a sanctuary city and all that. Find other levers for that.
The Somali community,
I
you think
think
are all legal immigrants?
But most of the Somalis up there are. They came over here in 93. Well, 94. They came into Atlanta.
Those refugees.
And then went up there. Yeah. Why do you think they all speak good English? Okay, good-ish. They speak better English than me. I mean, they may be dumb, but but you send up there the IRS-looking guys, and you go after those Somalis, and you flush that out, right? And you find the facts. And then with those facts, you beat the Democrats there with those facts.
I don't think.
And you get a new group in there and you say, look, this is a thing. And then, but I think by sending armed people up there, here's what it's done. It's guaranteed the Democrats will win in the midterms.
Maybe
100%.
They're going to, Nick Shirley's in San Diego right now.
Sure.
And they're busting the same. They believe California's probably got more fraud than anywhere
probably
else.
That's a soft roll. You bowled that ball between your legs.
We all need to talk to our senators and tell them to pass the SAVE Act. That is going to have a monumentous effect on our elections.
Here's the big thing you need to do.
Because you don't want Donald Trump to cheat. So pass the SAVE Act.
You want to know the big thing you can do? And this is a nation-saving thing. We all need to talk to our senators and say, hey, how about the feds quit taxing us so much? How about the feds quit taxing me to support California and Minnesota? How about federal money does not funnel down to the states on a general policy? How about the feds tax us for what they spend just to keep the government alive? How about we do that? And then if the states want to do crazy stuff, the states can do crazy stuff all by themselves.
How about a national divorce against... The thing is, California and Gavin Newsom, oh my goodness. What a special boy.
Don't doubt Gavin Newsom for a bit. I'm
not doubting him. I'm saying
count that man out.
How he is the pretzel they have to put themselves into to make this make sense. Gavin Newsom, this investigation was opened regarding hospice care in California, where these hospice companies start up and they have so many employees and they have so many clients, and yet they are abandoned buildings they're just paying rent on. And they find this giant scheme that many Russians and Armenians have started in California.
Sure, it's all of them.
Illegal immigrants and run by Russian mafia. So now they've got Dr. Oz, who is over the
And
adult services department, medical services. He goes in there just to look at it, and the state doesn't want him. When the federal government goes in, when it's federal dollars, I want the federal government in that state.
Here's the reason. Okay, during COVID, all these stupid departments were born. Some of them under Trump, most of them under Biden. All these stupid, we're going to hand cash out to keep the economy alive. And these people who are of a transient nature, who don't care about the longevity, because they've already proven to themselves that if it's a pickle, I will move, right? So they'll jump in. You and me, I would never. I even had someone bring up to me, because I had a little podcast, you can get a PPP loan. I said, I'm not going to do that, because I'm not going to do that because it would not be a benefit long-term to the outcome of my nation. But I plan on staying here forever.
That was me with unemployment during COVID. I couldn't accept it. It
But
was
people-
ridiculous.
But people who already have that mindset that I don't have to stick around. If this place goes to crap, I will uproot like I have.
And take every dime.
Like I have in my lifetime, and I will leave, right? So when the government says, oh, we're going to offer this thing,
All right. It never
people
works
take,
out.
so let's go back to the root. What's the root? The government offering the thing. Don't give them the avenue to cheat.
Created welfare state for people to intensify them to cheat, who bring them over the border.
100%.
And it's because they want votes.
And there's
They're
a whole,
undocumented Democrats, folks.
there's a whole bunch of, I guarantee you, there's every bit as many citizens breaking these systems as well.
We have our own
So
group.
don't have the system, right?
Well, you can't. Are we talking about the government's too bloated and too spendy? I'm right there. Too bloated, too spendy.
Let the states run it. If a state wants to offer something like that during COVID, let the state run it, because what'll happen is the state will go broke by itself. You'll have that 50 little petri dishes, all of them doing their own little tests. And you'll have some states that will say, we didn't do that, and we have a success.
But the
And you'll have
states,
some states that says, we did some of it and we had a success. And you'll have some states that says we did some of it and we had a failure. And you'll have some states that said we did all of it and we had whatever.
but they still get bailed out because they're a
That's
union.
why you don't have the bailout.
I totally agree.
You
But
don't
what do you
have
do
you
with
don't
a
have
state
the federal government.
that's mismanaged? Look what's happening in New York
What
right
can
now.
the states
In
do?
New York City.
There's lots of options the state can do. The state can start selling off its stuff, just like our federal government did when it made gold illegal.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Do you know
I
why
would love
Utah
to see
belongs
a
to the
strong-
feds?
No.
Because Nixon took us off the international gold standard. He had to have something to use for leverage. So Nixon went out and captured all of the land that was unincorporated, that was outside of unincorporated areas, and said, that's mine. That's why none of it's back east and all of it's out here. When in 73, when he did that,
oh, you
was
mean
unpopulated.
our public lands?
yep. And that was used as leverage. Nixon
Wild
had
West.
something to sell off. Can't the states start selling off their stuff?
I agree.
I
Will
happen to
they?
hear
No.
that there's a little place called Malibu that's just empty and all ashy right now.
That is stolen land
Sure.
that you're referring to,
Sure.
Billie Eilish.
It's stolen twice now.
Yeah. Did you see the tribe reached out to her and said, your house is on our land, so
Actually, the tribe reached out and said,
we'll move in.
acknowledge us, use our name, the actual tribe's name. It was other people who said,
Still
that.
hilarious.
it is hilarious. But again, she's an empty-headed, ultra wealthy moron. And no offense, she's completely chick think.
She's what?
Girl thought. She's just a girl thought.
What the hell does that mean?
Driven on emotion.
Not every girl is driven on emotion.
I didn't say not every girl is driven on emotion. Just most of them.
Just call it a celebrity thought, because celebrities are so stupid. They're so stupid.
Yeah, but I would say the majority
What
of
did he
them are
say?
doing that
What
to
did
be.
Blue Bunny or whatever his name is say down with ice or something, and
I don't
people are like,
care.
"Oh yeah." It's like,
I don't care.
what does he know? He doesn't. What
don't
William says, I've been reading about ghost towns in Tooele County, such as Ajax,
Mhm.
Burmester, and Mercer.
Okay.
Their histories intrigue me, including that of the
Aragonite
hazardous
that's where I
waste
go to hunt out by
incinerator.
Aragonite. Okay. So Tooele County, you got Burmester. Burmester was a town that was built up while they built the freeways. There's a road there now, and there's still people that live out there. It's on Higley Road, though it's being industrialized for this inland port. Mercer was at time pretty much the seat of the county. It burned down and they built it back in like
Where
a
is
week.
that at?
Mercer's south of Stockton, kind of up in the mountain. They had a smelter up there. It burned down twice in like 5 years. And
I
then
think I've been up there on a 4-wheeler.
yeah, you have to use a 4-wheeler.
Gotten an accident and
Yeah.
everything.
There's neat stuff out here. If you ever get the chance, come on up. We'll go out, see some of the places. You can the Donner Party. This was their last civilized stop, was in Grantsville. My dad runs the Donner Reed Museum.
Which is fascinating. I never knew the Donner Party had a stop here in Grantsville.
They did, and
it was phenomenal.
There's a guy that comes out from the Netherlands every couple of years for my dad to show him around. But you can go over Hastings Cutoff, which is over there on the Cedars, and up there you look and you see Pilot Point or Pilot Peak, which is, they call it Pilot Peak because that's what they aimed for as they made their way across the desert. It's pretty interesting here in Tooele. Grantsville it's small, but a lot of interesting guys come out of Grantsville, like the modern day means of evap salt harvesting was invented in Grantsville. The guy who laid out all of the Postal Service airstrips, who laid them out, decided where they would go. He lived in Grantsville.
It's a great town. It's a great city.
It's a cool little town.
We've got great history out here, and our great grandmother, she a great or great? Our great grandmother. We share the same great grandmother, and our family was out here a long time. And to see how we've grown though is unbelievable, and we're
big.
just getting started.
Yeah, it's getting big. Our great grandmother. Do you know where they lived? Do you know where Wells Fargo Bank is?
Yeah.
That's where their house was.
Yeah, that's
right there.
amazing.
Right there in the corner of Utah and Maine. And she was a bowling shark. She used to run the bowling alley. But anyways, guys.
Jordan, hey, Jared and Holly. My brother's wife is going to fly out to Utah from Florida on Friday. That's great.
That's awesome. And yes, there's a casino in Wendover. And your grandma had family in Eureka. Eureka's a neat little town. It's kind of dying on the vine down there. Once they close down the mining, but Eureka's a real interesting little town down there.
Wendover has lots of casinos. So it's right on the border of Nevada and Utah. And on the Utah side, no casinos. But on the Nevada side, lots of casinos in a little tiny town. It's pretty fun. A lot of Utah parking, like license plates in the
parking lot.
Right.
And go out there just for dinner.
No, you can't afford it.
I'm not a gambler.
To be cheap, but now it's not.
I'm not a gambler, but you can get decent food out there. They have concerts out there and stuff. But
Okay, you guys. Hey, if you want to sign the petition,
yes,
don't forget tomorrow at the Tooele County building, outside the building at 11:30. Did I say 11:30 to 1 p.m. You can sign at Tooele County's building out in the front.
That's there on Main Street, just south of Vine Street there,
Right.
the big building.
And then tomorrow evening from 6:30 to 8, you can sign in front of the clubhouse in Stansbury Park.
Yeah, and that's on Clubhouse Road.
Make sure you come to sign. And if you don't want to sign, don't come. We're not having debates.
And don't
We're not trying to stress anyone out. We just want to have a petition for the entire community. You can be a Democrat, you can be an independent, a Republican. All you have to be is a registered voter and you can sign this petition. And we appreciate everybody remembering their manners because our community is special. Even the people who disagree can still do so with a smidgen of respect, which is needed if we're going to live in polite society.
Yeah. All right, you guys have a good night. Thanks for joining us.
We love you. We'll